Hello and welcome to the Relation Shop. I'm Toya, and
What's
you know
up?
who it is, Eric and Jason. We are
Who
in
doesn't
here.
know us?
No, I don't know.
Internationally unknown,
Yeah.
locally
I don't know.
unrecognized.
Yeah,
That's
all
us.
of
Didn't we have
exactly.
like pretty high rankings in Zimbabwe once?
I
don't know what it is today.
Top-rated relationship show
In Zimbabwe.
in
Somewhere.
Sudan, I think.
Sudan?
Is it Sudan?
Somewhere around there.
Maybe.
Somewhere internationally, no?
Somewhere internationally,
Can't walk on
yeah.
the streets of Sudan?
Probably shouldn't. Probably not.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's your tip for the day.
That's my tip.
Marriage tip for the
Exactly.
day.
There you go.
Guess
And-
what we're talking about today?
What?
Yes.
Validation
How'd
in
you know?
marriage.
Wow.
How does she always know what we're going to talk
Exactly.
Why she
about?
sits in the center seat,
Mm-hmm.
drives the ship.
The
Drives the
importance
ship.
of validation in marriage.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
is it? Tell me what that is.
It's validating.
Yeah.
It means you validate.
Huh.
It's good.
Okay.
I like.
You got it, Jason?
Well, yeah,
I
but
like
I'm
to
thinking,
define something by using the word as the definition.
I see.
That makes sense. So,
No, that
what's
makes sense.
validating about? Well, it's when you validate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes you sound smarter than you really are.
Yeah. It's when you make something valid.
You know what else makes you sound smarter than you really are?
What?
Making up your own words.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Who here does that?
Whoa. Are we doing that?
No, we're not doing
Okay.
that. Not at this
you
point.
may
We'll bring
at
it up.
some point during the
Okay.
show.
Yeah.
There's a high likelihood. You know what we should start doing? We should start having people bet the over-under on whether Toya will make up a new word in this episode or not. We could start a whole kind of gambling thing just around the show.
It won't be the new ones. It'll be the same old ones.
In fact, maybe we get a casino to sponsor us.
Oh, that would be an idea.
Casino.
Or sportsbook or something
Winstar or
to
something. Maybe we
sponsor
can
us.
do
They
a
could
show
do-
from Winstar.
Yeah,
come on, Winstar.
they could do the over/under on
I
whether
like
Toya
it.
will come up with a new word, whether how many times I may take shots at Jason or Toya during the show. We could do a whole
kinds of
betting
stuff.
thing
Right.
just around the show and get some sponsors around that.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Until
do it.
then, we're going to talk about the importance
Because
of...
we were like this close. Crypto.com was gonna this
well,
close,
yeah.
and then
Yeah,
everything
you know what
everything went
happened.
down
Yeah, it
south,
went
and
south.
Oh,
he got arrested. And
Yeah, you know.
but we were that close
We
to
were.
having them as a sponsor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Crypto. Didn't work out for us.
didn't work out for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so validation. Are you being heard? Are you being
So
respected?
you wanted the definition. Why don't you define it for us? What does it
I'm going to read
mean
my notes.
to validate
Down the road.
somebody? Okay, read your notes.
Validation is the act of helping someone feel heard and understood. So
Yeah,
now with
I like that.
marriage, when your spouse comes to you to share their feelings, it's genuinely listening and experiencing the moment with
Look at that
them.
right there. You got a hair.
Is it
It was
from
on
your
my shirt.
cat?
I think it was cat. Do you ever? This is a good side note.
Not sure where we went there.
This is a good side note. Because you're a dad of daughters as well.
Yep.
You know, one of the most frustrating things about having this many women in the house. Now they're starting to move out, so that's good.
I'm going to say yes.
Every time I put on a shirt or some type of laundry, there's like girl hair on it.
Girl
That's true.
hair on it.
You'll
And
be all
our
right.
three girls had distinctly different
Yep.
hair
So
too.
because they've been wearing it, or just it's just
No,
where
just
you
in the
sat
laundry.
or
laundry.
like
The laundry,
got
like the
together.
hair all mixes together,
Yeah.
and then I'll be
Yeah.
sitting somewhere just like I was just now. Sitting, I saw
Like-
a little hair out of the corner of my eye, so I
right.
had to get it. But I'll be sitting somewhere, and I'll be like, and you'll be like,
Ooh, that was a long one.
and it's like a foot long. I'm like, what in the world?
I don't
How
really
did
have
this
that
get in
problem
my
much anymore,
clothing?
but yeah,
So,
that
little
is a
side
problem.
note.
Yeah, no, I mean most
But
of them are-
validating is the act of making your spouse feel heard and understood, which is good.
Do you feel validated on the show?
Sometimes. Thanks for asking.
I think we do sometimes invalidate
Oh, we do.
Toya's lists
Oh, we do.
because they're bad.
That's what we do. We're invalidators.
They're bad.
That's what we
My
do.
lists, they're not bad. They're just simple.
They're
Simple and to the point.
No, there's a difference between simple and bad. There's been a lot of times back. You need to validate this one,
Oh, yeah.
Jason.
Okay, let's see.
There's been a number of times when her list of whether it's 5 or 10, when her list like 2 to 3 of them are the exact same thing, said a little different. Can you agree with that? If not, we can play stuff back.
No, I don't.
No, we don't have to do
I
that.
agree with it.
I'm so 100% sure on this. I don't even need your validation.
I feel so validated.
If people have listened to the show, they know that oftentimes Toya's list, she calls them simple. They're redundant and repetitive.
So basically, he just invalidated your list and told me he didn't
But
need
you know
my
what?
validation.
That's
so,
okay.
Not the whole list.
I'm looking out for the person that went off into a daze for a second and then they came back, so they heard the other.
Repetition's important, right? You gotta.
That's
you
how
gotta
you. That's
repetition.
how it sticks.
I got an idea.
So I'm good
all
with that.
repetition.
Okay, so now we're going down a completely different rabbit trail.
Okay.
Toya has now realized in life that when she talks, people go into a daze. So she feels like when it's her time to do lists, she has to be repetitive because she knows she's putting people in. I would say don't put them in a daze. Be interesting and thought-provoking, and then you won't have to repeat yourself because they won't go in a daze. They'll actually pause, rewind to hear it again.
Toya, you're
They're
smart
driving,
enough.
it's okay.
You're good enough, and
gosh
doggone it, people like you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Words from Stuart Smalley right there.
Smalley. Right.
All right.
Okay. So
All right.
I gave the definition
you
of
gave the
validation.
definition. I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm bringing us back. I'm bringing us back.
If you had given us a list, and that's why we were talking about it, we were just talking about your past list.
You
being
just jumped
redundant.
ahead.
Oh,
Yep.
okay,
You jumped ahead.
He went to a day.
So here's what I'm going to say on validation. I think, this is probably neck and neck for my top two. When you talk about simple, the top two simplest, most effective things you can do in your marriage: validation and appreciation. Because they're simple. They're easy.
Okay.
Sometimes validation is counterintuitive, and we could talk about why, but it's just like you don't have to have a whole great set of relationship skills to appreciate your spouse.
Right.
Like, see what they're doing and tell them I appreciate
Exactly.
it. Same thing with validation. You don't need a whole big set of skills to be able to validate. The problem we have is we have a hard time validating when we don't agree,
Right.
and we have a hard time biting our tongue on our side or our truth and just validating. And so I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. But if they can perfect validation, dude, just like Toya, you didn't notice, but when you started validating her, even jokingly, she started smiling.
There you go.
Because it felt good. It was like an internal, just felt good.
Exactly.
Well, there you go. Glad I can help.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what I'm here
So,
for.
you guys can hug it out if you need a moment. You good? You good?
Yeah.
You good?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
you
we're
don't
good.
need that.
No, we're
Okay,
good.
so here's what I want to do. I want to give three things I think validation does,
Okay.
and then you guys can criticize these. So we always are. You can validate.
Yeah, let's go.
You can validate or invalidate
Okay.
these. Okay.
Okay.
Toya's ready for it.
I'm
So-
ready.
So here's the first thing: validation will create connection in the relationship.
I'm not going to be like you, Eric. I agree. That's good. We're fine.
I just want you to be honest.
Validation
Yeah, it
will
does.
create connections.
Yeah, because
You're feeling
So
good.
when your spouse shares something with you,
Yes.
and you validate them,
Absolutely.
they'll feel connected to you.
Because half the
Exactly.
time you're not listening.
Yeah.
Or you're thinking about what you're going to say before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can see
That's
that.
true.
Because they will know, back to her
It
definition,
communicates, yeah.
that they are heard and
Yes.
understood.
Gonna communicate.
And that will
okay.
make me go, I kind of like you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel connected to you.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, correct me if so this is sometimes a male female thing. Correct me if I'm wrong on this. Oftentimes when you share something with a mod, you don't want a solution, an opinion,
Uh-oh.
right? You just want to be heard.
Oh my
You done
goodness.
stirred the pot. Something's
That's so
going on
true.
over here.
Yeah, I think this is a common male female thing because guys tend to be problem solvers.
Right.
And so when their wives come to them and share something, they're like, you must want a solution.
Right.
Or,
That's what
and
you're
on top of it, if you share something like you're hurting, if your husband even partially cares about you, he wants to resolve
fix
your
it.
hurt.
Right.
So he don't want you to be in pain. So he's going to be like, let me fix it.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of couples is that doesn't always feel validating. Like literally, sometimes if a wife brings something to the husband and they're looking for a connection, But in response, they get like an intellectual responsive solution. They'll leave the conversation feeling invalidated and like there was no connection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the husband's like, oh, that was great.
There you go.
You came, I solved it. This is going good.
Have you seen the new Avatar?
No.
You haven't
the
seen
water
it?
one?
Yes.
You saw it?
Saw it last night. Yep.
Okay.
Saw it last night. Actually pretty good. Long.
Don't say anything.
Never mind.
Because I'm gonna
You can
see
say
it.
No. But the theme of it.
Say it and then give us a spoiler at the end.
So the theme of the whole thing is, I say the whole thing, throughout the whole thing, you know, when there's conflict and all that kind of stuff, that there would be, I see you. And whenever they said, I see you, it would stop. It would be like,
Oh, yeah.
They were
see me. They were validating. Yeah.
That's
There
a
you go.
sweet way to do it.
Now you gotta
Yeah.
go see the movie.
All right.
Yeah.
So the first one was validation creates connection. The second one, this can feel a little bit redundant, like Toya's list, but
Really?
Yeah.
Really? You're gonna do it?
but validation will also prevent isolation, which is the opposite of connection, right?
Right.
If you
I
come
agree
and
with
share
that.
something with your spouse and they don't validate it, you're going to leave the conversation feeling alone in whatever you're dealing with.
Right.
So maybe
Like you just
your
wasted your
stress,
time.
your frustration,
Right.
maybe suffering, whatever it is. But if you bring it and you don't get validated, you're going to walk away feeling like, man, I got no support.
Yep.
I feel isolated. I feel alone. I feel like I have to deal with this on my own because they didn't hear or understand me. And so validating them will prevent that feeling, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And then the last one I would say is validation is or provides a pathway to restoration. So when there's conflict, if you want to resolve the conflict, you absolutely need to validate the other person and what they bring.
Because really, you don't have to agree,
Absolutely not.
but the validation part of it's going to create that connection and all that, which will start that heat. Okay, I can buy that. I
So
think I can go with that.
if you really want a resolution, you need to validate their perspective or you're never going to get there, right?
Yeah.
If they don't feel heard and understood, they're probably not going to be willing to hear
There are
your
ways
side.
to do that.
That's
You can't
true.
say I see you, but that's stupid.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
No, I hear you. I understand. Dumbest idea I've
you're
ever heard.
Right.
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 Don't go there.
That example of how not to validate.
Don't go there.
But I think what Jason says is important because I think a lot of couples make the mistake of thinking if I don't agree with you, I can't validate you.
Right. I think that is a big mistake. And it's like just hear them, understand their perspective, and hear them. Period.
Yeah, and you can validate the person. So if Jason comes to me and says, "Hey, man, you know when you did X, Y, Z, you know that was embarrassing, and you embarrassed me in front of my friends or whatever," and I can in my mind I can be like, "Dude, I don't know what you're talking about."
right.
First of all, I didn't call you an idiot. You know, it may be like when you call me an idiot, you embarrassed me in front of. I didn't call you I may be like, I didn't call you an idiot. I don't know
Right.
what you're talking about. You were the one that was off base. But I can still validate him by saying, I can see how you were embarrassed if you felt
Exactly.
like I called you an idiot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's still validating. Now we can talk later about, hey man, I don't think I called you that.
Right.
But our problem is we don't validate. We just come back with, I didn't do it. You shouldn't feel that way. I didn't do it. And you feel invalidated.
Which is pretty much why I didn't go to life group most of the time.
Well,
You know.
I think that was because you had too much wine by 3
Can you
o'clock.
have too much wine? That's such a thing.
Point made.
man.
Yes, you can have too much wine.
Okay.
And I think we
You
did a
say
show
so.
on that last
we?
month.
We
about
did.
drinking and
Drinking and marriage.
Still,
A little hazy.
I think you were buzzed on that show too, and it's just carried
Oh
on.
man.
Yeah, you know.
Oh man.
Yeah, I can work through it.
New year, not new Jason. I know that much.
Yeah,
So,
you know,
so
we'll
those
see.
are three things I think: validation. It creates connection, it prevents isolation, and it provides like a pathway if you want to resolve stuff.
Okay.
It's powerful. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
Well, those are important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see. I mean, those are important things. I'm curious. Like, I've seen some things where important people have thrown out some ideas of validation. I'm going to see if you guys agree with them.
All right.
Let's
Let's
see
go.
what you guys agree with.
I'm going to
them.
go with no.
Maybe. So basically,
you sent us a list too.
yeah.
so-
Basically, these are quotes by famous people on validation and recognition, all that kind of stuff. Basically, that's the whole theme, right?
I was figuring we'd have some real food, like the red table talk and stuff on there. But they're not on here.
they're,
So
we
these are
didn't
actually
make the list.
No,
these are people,
yeah.
real people.
Oh, okay,
Alright.
these are
Real-
actually like historical figures. Some of
yes,
them. Okay.
yeah, exactly
I was
right.
looking
So-
for like the latest, like Tia Mowry saying,
Yeah.
her divorce was like a college degree that she graduated and.
Yeah, I that was on here, but I decided to take it
Okay.
off. So we'll move
And
on with that.
let me name them real quick. So we have Mother Teresa, Steve Jobs, Sam Walton, Abraham Lincoln, Mary Kay, Ronald Reagan, Joyce Myers, JFK, Joel Osteen, and Winston Churchill.
Now,
Yeah,
not all of
that's a good
those
list.
have said these.
Yeah,
Okay.
You got
these
more
are what we
because
get
you know
to choose from.
Yes, well, I
but they
can't
may
make it
not
too
always
easy.
be on the list.
'Cause-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see what we got. Here's the first quote: "We must find time to stop and think the people who make a difference in our lives." Seems pretty easy to agree with, I would think.
Okay.
Sounds like a commercial.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Make a difference. Okay.
I have no idea. This could be a number of them.
Could be a number.
You know what? I'm gonna go with my gut.
Go with the gut.
That has never worked in the, in the
gonna work
history
now.
of the
It's
world.
gonna
But
work.
go ahead. I want this
I
is
feel
good.
it.
I'm gonna go with Mary Kay.
Okay.
Okay. That actually might be a decent one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Reagan.
Okay. Well, you were on the right track with the political, but it's John F. John F. Kennedy said that. John F. All right. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition.
Ooh.
Do you agree with that?
Ooh. I do agree
So
with that.
sometimes you're
Yeah.
wanting the affirmation, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got to look at you as you deserve the affirmation.
Yeah.
All right. Who said that?
I'm gonna go with my gut. Steve Jobs. Don't make faces,
There are
Jason.
no, I got no faces.
Sam Walton?
You know them both, and I was just because you keep going with your gut. You were so confident in the gut this time. This is Abraham Lincoln.
Oh,
Abraham Lincoln.
This is two in a row
It's
or
a
my
tough
second
one.
choice.
All right,
was it.
somebody's
So
gonna get this one.
I'm going to doubt my first choice and go second on this one.
Go
But
with-
you keep going with your gut.
Actually, you should go with Toya's gut.
No, I
Is what I would
shouldn't.
do. So. All right. Nothing else can quite substitute for a few well-chosen, well-timed, sincere words of praise. They're absolutely free and worth a fortune.
Wow. I'm going to go with
Not
Churchill.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah, Sam Walton. Good old Walmart,
Okay.
who is not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we
Okay.
should be. All right, here we go. There is more hunger for love and appreciation in this world than for bread.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Mother Teresa. All right, so here we go. There are two things people want more than sex and money, and that's recognition and praise.
Churchill.
Steve Jobs.
Sounds very Churchill. This is actually Mary Kay.
Really?
What?
It's actually Mary Kay. Who knew Mary Kay?
Crazy.
All right, it's very inexpensive to give a compliment. Basic, straightforward. Who's basic, straightforward on that list?
Churchill.
You would think?
Olstein.
You would think? Joyce Meyer.
What?
Yeah,
That
exactly.
sounds nothing like her.
It doesn't. That's why I threw that one in. So, okay,
That's
you
good.
guys
We tied.
tied for one.
That's terrible. Those were bad quotes.
Those are bad quotes, aren't they?
Interesting.
Yeah. You
That's
tricked
why
us.
we got to make it in. So here's my question.
Yeah.
My question is, when does validation? I get it.
Yeah.
But what if the other side is so needy? You're going, gosh, I got to validate all the time. I mean, when does it become okay, you got problems because I'm constantly having to validate.
Well, I think that's a longer discussion,
maybe another
and
show.
you know what? That might be a good upcoming show
Okay.
on
Go ahead and do your
navigating
homework while we do the show.
navigating
You can tap in.
insecurities in our marriage. Because at some point, if somebody needs to be overly validated, there's
Yeah.
something going on personally, right?
Yeah.
It's one thing to. We all need some level of validation. It's
Right.
another thing when you have to be validated consistently to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
That's certainly a personal issue. So
And it wears
Well-
the other side out. What?
I I got a list for this.
Oh.
You didn't know, huh? You didn't. That's why I was smiling.
That
Like
might
you
have been
didn't know.
the best
You didn't know.
non-intended setup for toy.
There we
ever.
go.
Okay, what do we got?
You got a
So-
list of how to know if you're overly needy?
Just some things to do if you need to take back your power. Like if you feel like this person is. I don't even like the way that's worded already. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you
Toya
now.
has
So-
in the new year, she's gone new age. So we're gonna reclaim our power.
Right.
Power.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Love yourself,
Yeah.
right?
So I'm
love
disclaimer.
yourself, reclaim
Disclaimer.
your power.
I'm not liking what this is saying,
Find the
but
new
this is
you.
out there.
All
So
right.
let's go
Self-love.
ahead.
Well, maybe
Okay.
good.
Let's go ahead and say
Go
what we
ahead.
don't like because
Maybe
I'm
good.
already not agreeing with
Yeah.
that title.
All right.
Number 1, surround yourself with happy people.
I like it. Well, yes.
This is if your spouse is weighing you down and,
I don't
needy. and-
like happy because it's weird, but
Yes.
surround yourself with positive people or
With-
good
because
people. Or
happy
something.
could be like-
happy's so up and down, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
those are the same
Well,
people
and you
that
may
are
need to
sad
be
the
in
next
check
day.
sometime, and if
Yeah.
you're surrounded people that just
Good,
Here's the
you
thing.
need
Good. You're
right,
awesome. You
right,
do
right.
you.
You need
Yeah.
people that are going to hold you accountable.
Okay, so
Yeah.
good people.
right.
Quality people. I like that.
Number 2, start a gratitude journal and write in it daily.
I like that.
All right. Oh,
Gratitude
see, we're
Yeah.
okay. Number 3,
Gratitude's good.
break out of your rut.
Yeah, that's one of those to me that sounds neat, but it's like, okay, how do I
do
break
you
it
do
out?
that?
If
Yeah,
I-
what do
if
you
I-
do with
if I
that?
knew how to get out of my rut, I wouldn't be in it. So,
Right.
So that's one of those like, oh yeah, that
Sounds
sounds
good.
great. What does it
Right.
look like practically? That's probably
That's a
a
tough
whole
one.
show.
Yeah.
But anyway,
This is going to be one y'all are going to love. Do something nice for yourself every week. Sounds like self-care to me.
I think that's good to do for people.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that
I
through.
think sometimes we can go too far on
But
that.
what is that?
But if I think on a daily basis or a weekly basis, I like going to the gym is something I like to do because I can listen to a podcast and get some exercise out. I think, going to Starbucks and having a drink and reading a book is good. So I think, if you know what refuels you to regularly do that, I like that.
So your your decompression thing, something where you can go decompress. Of course.
Just do something that's fulfilling and
There you go.
fills you up. Yeah.
And then
I like
last one, set some goals,
it. Okay.
which
Okay.
we talked about last week.
Yeah, which then goes back to you need not just happy people, but quality people who will help you achieve your goals.
Yeah.
And then you should be good.
So it looks
Okay.
like this one was good, huh?
Well,
That
you took-
list was not bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
you took back your power.
Not bad.
I like it.
So I want to help people out with a simple little. You guys have heard this before because I talk about it often, but this I call it managing the moment.
No.
And I think a lot of people struggle with validation because they don't withhold the truth. So the idea behind managing the moment is when your spouse brings something to you, at that moment, validation is more important than truth. Period. Mushroom belt. Whatever
All right.
you want to say.
Whatever they bring to you.
Whatever they bring to
Doesn't
you.
matter.
Our problem is we respond with truth.
Yeah.
And when you do, you often invalidate your spouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you respond with truth, they don't want to hear your truth because they don't feel heard first. But if you validate, they'll be willing to hear your truth. Perfect example. So give me an example of, you have anything your spouse has brought to you, a concern? Okay, you
Throw
guys
it out.
got perfect.
No.
perfect
I was,
No,
waiting
I was
on
just
her.
trying to think of something
okay,
quickly.
So, oh my gosh, I am so overwhelmed with XYZ, whatever.
Sure. So you want to validate that.
Yep.
That must be tough.
Yep.
Sorry you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
Right. You want to validate that before you're like, because your tendency may be we downplay it because we don't want them to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. That's not that much.
Yeah.
Or there's not that much going on. Or,
That's
and-
frustrating.
And sometimes some people are just like selfish.
There you
And
go.
so they're doing that because they're selfish. But I think most people, if you have a good, well-meaning spouse, they're probably trying to make you feel better. But it can still feel invalidating if they minimize the thing that you've brought, right? So that's an example of her just bringing something that has nothing to do with you, but you validate. It's even harder if they bring something that's an issue with you. Like, could you please quit leaving your socks on the floor in the bathroom?
Yeah.
They bring an issue to you. Our tendency is to respond with some truth. Like, I don't do it that much, or you do the same thing, or like you leave your dishes in the sink and I don't say nothing, or, we respond with all our truths and it just basically it makes them go, okay, So I can't bring anything to you because you're going to turn around and bring something back on me.
But
and the longer you've been married,
well,
like at some point, there's nothing. I mean, there may be a few things, but at some point, there's not a whole lot your spouse could bring to you that you couldn't turn around.
Which those are pretty easy though, as far as like socks and stuff like that. When they hit the emotion though, like like, hey, honey, I don't really like your mom coming over grooming you.
Oh yeah, that's
an issue.
Whatever show that was.
Yeah, whatever show that was. But no, I mean, but if your mom's a loser.
It could be anything.
I mean, when you hit the emotional part, it's a little bit harder to go.
But our tendency is to respond to the issue brought to us with our truth about the issue.
Yeah.
Either I wasn't trying to do that, or you do it too, or I don't do that, or whatever it might be.
Right.
The key is do not respond with truth. Validate first, bring the truth later. So it may be that
makes sense.
Lisa leaves socks all over the floor too. But that's not the moment to tell her about that.
Exactly.
In that moment, you validate, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on that. Sorry you had to pick up after me.
Yep.
Now, later on that evening, the next day, if she does it too, come back and be like, hey, when you mentioned my socks yesterday, I get it. I'm working on it. But it's also frustrating because I feel like you do it a lot too and I don't say anything. Or you always leave dishes in the sink and I just pick them up and don't say anything. So it's a little frustrating that you're getting on to me about something you do. But if you say that at the moment, they're not going to hear you. You're going to invalidate them. It's going to go south. So I think for a lot of couples, if they can get good at just validating at the moment something's brought to them, they'll avoid a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
And when you really practice quick to listen, slow to speak, like that's it. Because then you can really think like, okay.
Bible over there.
Bible.
Okay.
Yeah,
when you really think about that, then you're like, wait a minute. This is what it's at the tip of my tongue to say the truth, but let me stop and just validate. So it's like, just stop.
Toya went to church this week.
That's it.
They must
While y'all were watching soccer.
Somebody must have mentioned that in a sermon or something, because I know she didn't get it on her own.
Quote.
Ooh, I do read. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which book were you in when you read that?
Oh, really?
We'll move on.
Yeah.
Join Alter Marriage if you have not already. Leave us a review, follow, subscribe, all of that.
We need a drink sponsor. Like, this is ridiculous. I want a good flavored something, because I get a little parched up here.
Maybe a little something with bubbles. That'd be lovely.
Maybe.
And also, if you want to check out past episodes, number 156, Has Your Marriage Been Neglected? And number 138, Reasons Your Marriage Becomes a Conflict. So check that out.
And if you need a reference to Jason's comment about mothers grooming their sons, you might want to check out the Leave and Cleave episode.
Leave and Cleave. That was a good one.
That one.
That was a good one. Go check that one out.
A few weeks ago. Yes. But we are out. Thank you.
Adios.